Welcome back to Real Talk with REsimpli, where we get real about real estate, business, and everything in between. I'm your host, Chenay Jordan.
And I'm Don Carlson. And today on Real Talk with REsimpli, we got Daniel McClam in the house, man. Real estate investor, former wholesaler, commercial broker, and tech founder, and also former soccer player who actually knows what it's like to compete at a high level. Daniel spent years in the trenches running a wholesale operation before building InvestorBase, a platform born out of real operator pain and not just theory.
Daniel brings a rare mix of confidence, self-awareness, and hard-learned lessons. And we're pumped to dig into the wins, the missteps, and everything in between. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Man, that's the best intro I've gotten in a long time. Y'all did some research, huh?
Absolutely. Gronk, ChatGPT, like all the things. It's not like it's not like Chenay knows you at all. And no, we're super stoked to have you, man.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Sweet. Now, before we jump into your origin story, background, I think there was some hazing involved too. I'd love to get into that, but I want to give our listeners something to use like right away in their business. At the time when we launch this, it's going to be 2026, new year, new problems, new market. What changes do we need to make as wholesalers with our Dispo team this year when it comes to just making more money for deals and selling them freaking fast, man?
Oh man, it's probably going to be making the right offers, getting really clear on what your max allowable offer is going to be, because we've all seen it on the actual flip and the retail side. Things are sitting longer. It's an unforgiving market right now as it is. And I'm not sure whether it continues to transition to a buyer's market, but I would say number one is just making sure you have the information to understand what buyers are going to be willing to pay.
For sure. Now, do you see like more rentals and stuff coming up, or do you see like people changing or keeping their investor strategy, but just getting like more like harder on their numbers?
Yeah, I mean, we have access to that. I couldn't give you an exact answer, but I mean, I would say for the most part, people stay in their lane. I haven't heard anything of people changing an exit strategy based on just the current market. It's just been underwriting and pricing so far. Actually, the guy who works upstairs, they flip probably 150 houses in our office. Mm-hmm. And I just talked to them today and they're like, man, we're getting smoked. They're like, we have a ton of stuff sitting. They actually just converted one of their flips and took it down as a rental and just converted it to a rental. So to your point.
Yeah, I'm doing that on two of them right now for myself in my own business. So that's the only reason why I asked. But yeah. I mean,
yeah, I just got back from CG and there was a lot of talk about this there as well. But it also seemed like it really was dependent on one market and two, what's actually like going on in that individual's business and if they're going to change exit strategies. But yeah, it's big talk right now.
Yeah. Well, that's super encouraging though. Believe it or not, the first part that you said, I mean, basically it's like 2019, 2018, like it's a normal market. Like you can't go up in price like another 10, 20, 30. It's like, you got to stick to like, just be a good investor. So I think that's the fundamentals are going to be key here, which I'm super excited to get into that a little bit later with the systems and process. But Chenay has some amazing questions to learn about you.
Yeah. So, so I want to get like right into like the good stuff, Daniel, which we talked about before we started recording this, but you've played soccer your whole life. Mm-hmm. And you shared with me that you posted a video your senior year saying that you were the best. Man. And it didn't really land.
I also told you not to bring this up.
Then you told me I could. So, of course, it's going to be the very first thing I bring up.
It's what you get when you don't fill out the form.
That's fair.
I'm just kidding.
That video didn't land the way that you really wanted to. So tell me what that moment really taught you about ego, perception, and leadership. We're going to turn the negative into a positive right now.
Well, I'll preface this with this. Chenay, you probably know me better than any other person that I've been on a podcast with. So you know I don't take myself that seriously, right?
True.
I'm a big fan of taking a serious situation and making somebody laugh out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So with that specific incident when I was 18, I got interviewed by like a little Midlands sports guy, and I decided I'd make it funny. And I said that I was the best player in the state. and that I don't get tired. I said we were the best team in the state, and that you call me crazy, at least you call me. There's a few other funny one-liners in there. Like I said, straight up, like a bunch of times. And yeah, it backfired really hard. Like everyone in South Carolina thought I was a huge douche. Right, dude, this guy sucks. Like, it was bad. Like it blew up big time. And everyone on my team was like, dude, what the hell, McClam? Like, why'd you do that? Like, now we got a target on our back. And I don't know. Long story short, we're talking about like high school here. So I mean, it was a long time ago, but we basically I had to like back that up, right? So we went into playoffs and people were trying to like kill me basically, and but we won the state championship for the first time ever in our school's career or whatever history, and then I won 3A Player of the Year. So I had to back it up, which I didn't really have a choice at that point.
You burned the ships.
So watch that. Watch that on your own time if you're listening to this. And
we're gonna tag
try
that
not
in the
to
show
judge
notes.
me, I guess. Yeah,
we're gonna find it. That's a video. Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think like, I mean, was it ego driven at all? Like you making these claims? Was there a bunch of ego involved there, or were you like really just trying to be funny?
Yeah. I know for a fact I was definitely trying to be funny, even though some of it could have been a little bit like what I actually said might have been a little bit serious. There's probably some truth to it. But all my friends saw it and they're like, dude, this is hilarious. Like they thought it was the funniest thing ever. But outside looking in, you're going to be like, man, this guy, this is one cocky dude, like for sure.
Do you think that helped you become like that player of the year, or like win those awards and stuff like that? Do you think that like accidentally fueled that fire to perform at a higher level?
Well, I mean, it humbled me for one, a little bit. But yeah, I would say it definitely fueled, like I had, like, I think manifestation is definitely real. And like, we knew for a very long time that like, those are my goals that I wrote down at the beginning of that year. Right. And so, what I do think helped is the psychology for the people who made that decision. Hey, is this guy going to be the best player in the state or not? Like, because I said that, and it kind of like established me as somebody different a little bit. So psychologically, it might have pushed them towards saying, hey, we should just give it to this guy because he basically said it. And like, then when he did all this stuff,
Babe Ruth, man,
you know,
called your
so
shot,
like,
you know,
yeah, maybe I helped it materialize by actually saying it out loud. It's kind of funny how that works sometimes. You know, sometimes when you have a goal or a vision, and you think about it long enough, I mean, it's funny how it just happens, right?
So maybe not in like a professional interview, but like putting out like whatever your goals are or like what you want to achieve, like throw that out into the universe, post on social, talk to your friends about it. Like, cause eventually you'll have that like, that repercussions or, that accountability too. Like if you said it, it's like own up, joke or not. But no, that's a great story, man. We'll definitely put that in the show notes.
Yeah. Daniel, do you think like the backlash that you got from that like changes the way that you communicate like your wins now in life?
I don't know, man. I mean, like once again, like it is supposed to be a joke. I mean, like I was 18, I thought it was hilarious. All my friends thought it was funny as hell. Like I remember Isabel, my wife now, showed it to her parents, like way too early on. I was like, why are you showing them this? This is not a good idea. And they thought it was hilarious. So like, I don't know, people think it's funny. And I'm like, all right, that's usually what I do is I try and make people laugh. And so I don't think much more about it than that.
Nice. I love stories like that. It's like your cringeworthy moments, you know, at times.
Accurate way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, cringeworthy, I think makes us, it's a learning experience, of course.
Yep.
Okay. So you ran a wholesale business for 3 years before starting InvestorBase.
Mm-hmm.
What did the wholesaling business teach you that the tech side never could teach you in life?
Well, they're very different business models for one.
Mm-hmm.
One's extremely transactional. One is a reoccurring revenue model that is way more predictable, way more scalable. There's not as much of a ceiling, right? And that's why, obviously tech gets larger multiples, right? It's way more predictable. Obviously you have wholesaling. What I learned from that is it's a freaking grind, like absolute grind. You close some deals 1 month, the next month you might close zero. It is a roller coaster ride until you get to that point where, you've put your time in for that 3, 4, 5 years and you've broken an SOP 5 times, right? Like an SOP is only good for 12 months and then the market changes in a wholesale business, right? Or you add more team members, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, it's hard to get to that point of stability. So I learned running a business is not easy, especially a wholesale one. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure y'all can relate to that
But
as
all
well.
the gurus say it's so easy on YouTube.
See, it's simple, guys. That's what I hear that all the time. I actually ran into like an old friend at the mall. We were taking Santa pictures yesterday afternoon, and someone follows us on social media, my wife and and she was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm a medical like assistant, and I see what you guys are doing, and I kind of want to do that too." I'm like, it's simple. You're not gonna make it. Like, I'm sorry. It's a big distinction, but I want to get into that consistency a little bit later. But yeah, Chenay, keep rolling.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess my last question would be, because we are talking about it being a roller coaster ride and a grind and all of that. What finally made you say, Daniel, like, I don't want to scale this anymore. I'm going to pivot and build something completely different?
It wasn't, it was like less of a pivot. Obviously there was some pain involved, but I would say like our transition to InvestorBase was more so running towards an opportunity. I know the cliche thing, they're like, running away from pain or running towards opportunity, but it's a great, cliche metaphor, example, whatever you want to use in this scenario. Is like the wholesale business was doing fine. Like we had our pain, we had our struggle just like anybody else. But what I will highlight is, we built InvestorBase. Our partner Jack, who you've met, Chenay, like boy genius. I don't know how his brain's just super big, way bigger than mine. But he built it internally for us, like an MVP. When we had a lot of struggle with Dispo in our own business, we had sold to, and we'll get into this more on the business side, I'm sure, but essentially we had a problem on the Dispo side, and we built it for ourselves. Realized it was super effective. Realized other people had a similar issue and could use that, and so we started to show it to some people, and like, man, this is incredible. And we just saw the opportunity, and we're like, man, let's jump on this, and that's how we got here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you think it was built out of like the opportunity or out of frustration?
I mean, opportunity for sure. Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, you can say a little bit of both for sure.
It can be both.
Yeah, definitely both. I mean, definitely both. Yeah.
Fuck this wholesaling business.
Dude.
Yeah.
We got to figure it out. And actually, just to back it up, for those who don't know what InvestorBase is, like, what is it? What does your software do? What problem does that solve for us as wholesalers?
Yeah. So we're a disposition software. What we do great is we identify the most likely buyers for your deal. So when you come to InvestorBase as your dispo solution, we provide you with an estimated 10 million real buyers nationwide, free skip tracing. You can build your buyers list within the product. You can create shareable landing pages for your deals. You can send these out with one click of a button. And it's got a lot of really good analytics. So I touched on max allowable offer. So within InvestorBase, you can go and see, hey, what are buyers paying for deals, which is, when you accumulate that, that's really powerful analytics for an acquisition guy when going to make an offer. I think especially in 2026, when all these buyers are starting to tighten up because they're getting burned on their flips on the back end. It's like, man, I'm going to offer deeper next time. So just starting to track, hey, what are buyers in my area paying on a % of ARV basis? What did they buy the same house across the street for? Stuff like that. So, yeah, it's been great. It's been a fun ride so far.
Sweet. Amazing. And before the software ever existed, like you said, you had some dispo problems in your own business. I guess, like, what was the first system that Boy Genius maybe put in place to consistently move deals instead of just scrambling buyer to buyer, or just like relying on the hedge fund type thing?
Yeah. So I guess just to backstep, like our dispo, I mean, our wholesale business was built very different. Like we didn't launch until 2021, which when you remember the market was on fire. I mean, you could close your eyes and move a deal with 10 offers like the next day. It was crazy. But we were only selling to institutional buyers. So 2022, I mean, we went from myself to by probably mid 2022, we had an office on King Street. We had 4 acquisition guys. We had in-house TC. We had Dispo. We had 20 cold callers overseas. Like we were
You're
pushing,
running a gun,
We're cooking.
we were pushing like realistically, probably 7 deals on average a month within the first 10 months of starting of saying, hey, let's go. Just myself. So we scaled really quickly. And we had all the SOPs in place, but the problem was we only sold to institutional buyers. And so when those guys went away at the end of 2022, we were stuck in a very rock and a hard place. And what people think is they're like, oh, well, man, why don't you just go find different buyers? But the whole business was built different. So we were basically reverse engineering the whole process. So we'd identify basically what hedge fund was paying the most. Okay, great. Now what markets are they buying in? Okay, great. What's their buy box? Okay, great. Now let's go pull a list of every single property in that town within that buy box with no distress indicators. So we weren't pulling like tax lien, we weren't pulling high equity or whatever, like none of that. It was just straight retail because we were literally able to offer with the right buyer retail minus repairs, minus say an agent fee. So like literally you could say, hey, I can go and sell my house on the market for 150. The seller would be like, yeah, I think I can go sell it on market for 150 as is. Or like ARV, right? Yeah. I can do work myself. I can sell it for say 200. It's going to be 50K in work. Do you agree with that? They're like, yeah, I agree with that. Okay, we'll offer you 140. And they're like, so you're telling me I don't have to go do the work to put 50K in it. I'm going to pay that 10K probably in an agent fee and closing costs and stuff. You're willing to give me the exact same price that I would get if I went through all that effort? Like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Because we had a buyer that would come in and pay.
What a tough sell.
We had a buyer that would come in and pay 110% of ARV minus repairs. Like it was just, we were just communicating with them numbers, right? It wasn't even much. Yeah. It wasn't even much sales. And like, since we weren't targeting distressed sellers, like we were talking with, a lot of highly educated, retail sellers that understood the numbers and were realistic, right?
Title was clean, no issue, like no hair on those deals.
Yeah,
very little.
So it was just a numbers game and identifying the buyers who would pay the most, right? That was our strong suit. And so the way we operated with Jack is Jack was able to run these numbers right, but he would also pencil in. He was pulling the list. He was doing the marketing stuff for us. So when we jump in a new market, I mean, we'd go and pull. I remember we pulled 500,000 records in Atlanta, dropped like 15 cold callers in that market, and started having leads the next day. And it's like, all right, we're in Atlanta now.
That's amazing.
But it created a lot of challenges doing that, like a lot of challenges. Your acquisition guys don't know that market very well. You might not know that hedge fund very well. We were working with probably 10 at the time. So from outside looking in, when those guys went away, people might say, oh, well, you just go find new buyers. It's like, no, dude, the list we were pulling, the marketing we were doing, the way we were making offers, the way we were negotiating with sellers, like everything got broken, everything. So it was hard.
So how'd you rebuild?
So we probably had, I remember in October 2022, we probably had like 20 or 30 deals under contract, like at a given time. The end buyer terminated like 13 of those in one day. It was SFR3 hedge fund. And
SFR3.
Yeah, they were already making crap offers anyways, but they would buy stuff that other hedge funds wouldn't. So it was good. But, all of a sudden we didn't have a buyer for all these deals, but we're still under contract. So like, what do you do naturally to try and move that deal? I mean, we had to JV a bunch of deals, right? So like we immediately had a JV while we tried to figure out, hey, like, how are we going to do this? My acquisition guys were pissed because they're doing the same amount of work and now we're splitting the deal 50-50 and they're making half as much. They're like, dude, Daniel, you gotta figure it out, man. I'm like, I know I do.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Yeah. And so we tried, the cash buyers list model. Like, it was super ineffective. I mean, we're putting stuff on Facebook, dealing with like the worst buyers ever. We didn't want to go there were maybe some other strategies in there that we could have tried. But ultimately, like, what we did is we started finding flips on Zillow. And like, all right, that is 100% a flip. Happened right around the corner. Let's call the agent or skip trace the buyer. And dude, we were like 4 for 4 moving deals with just cold calling like a handful of guys. And Jack saw that and was like, all right, this is the solution. And
I can automate this.
Yeah, 100%. And so one thing led to another.
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah. And dude, it pains me to hear, like, I love that you had so much good success in 21. I missed the boat on that. I outsourced my dispo. We had a partner going to Cincinnati, and like we had some connect, but it was like real estate agent connections. Then they had connections to the acquisitions agent for SFR3, Imagine, Conrex, like all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it was like, I could have made so much money if I knew that before, but now it's gone away though. So I implemented probably a similar like outreach cash buy, not as automated, but this is going to be the strategy on how to succeed in 2026, because all those guys have gone away for the majority. Now a lot of wholesalers have buyers lists that are just like massive spreadsheets. How do you actually like qualify buyers and segment them so the right deal goes to the right people?
Yeah, the main qualification is going to be, has this person done a deal or not? And are they actively doing deals? Right? I mean, the last thing you really want to work with is somebody who's never done a deal before. Now, if they're educated enough, hypothetically, those guys will sometimes pay more than somebody else who is doing a lot of deals, right?
That's New Western's model for sure. Like,
right. But for the most part, when it comes to qualifying buyers, like you want to work with somebody who knows what they're doing. And when you get to see into all of the deals they've ever done historically, I mean, that's a qualification enough for me. If I get to verify, hey, I see that you did, 100 deals last year, and I can see on a map every single one they did, what percent of ARV they bought for. I don't even have to ask qualifying questions to that person because I already have that data in front of me.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual like storage, yeah, unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that like an Excel spreadsheet, which there's only so much you can do with that, and we have a little bit of a competitive edge there with what we have.
I hate spreadsheets.
Well, I ran everything off of like all my buyers. I ran them off a spreadsheet, and I would miss people. Like I would forget about the guy that bought that one deal. It was always the flavor of the week, because at the time I was just like contacting them on Google Voice. Like all the texts were like, I would literally just text like the last like 20 people, but I would forget about the guy that like bought a deal from me like a year and a half ago who paid right when I asked. So, so before we like dive super deep into the like your like dispo process to help with that, like what from contract to close, like what is a good like process when it comes maybe like after contract, because we're focusing on dispo, what does that look like a tangible action plan?
Yeah, for sure. So depending on like how much DD you have in your contract, or if you even have DD at all, I typically see due diligence, right? Yeah, or an inspection period, right? More often than not, I see people basically having a 7-day marketing window, right? So, hey, we're going to spend about 1 week where we're going to do our SMS blast. We're going to do our email blast. We're going to run, say, our 2 to 3 day call campaign. What we've seen work best based on, hundreds of thousands of calls is when you're running a specific call campaign, one, saying the right things is super important on the phone. But two, the conversion rates will be much higher, right? So when you actually speak with somebody, the chances of them getting engaged into the deal when you're having the right conversation is much higher than them just getting a text or an email. So when it comes to actually marketing the deal, I think definitely still send the email blast, definitely still send the text blast. But if you're not implementing like a call campaign to really drive engagement in 2026, like you're not going to get near as many interested buyers as the enterprise guys that Chenay, we see in CG, that they have someone in that seat that they're having 40 conversations with buyers every single deal, right? So that's one thing I'd say on the marketing front. But after that, I think process wise, we're going to want to push everyone to a walkthrough, right? So if it's vacant and on lockbox, it makes it much easier to schedule and get people on board.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
If it's tenant occupied and it's seller occupied, maybe you want to get some preliminary offers from buyers and then kind of hand select the top 3, depending on how you're framing, your exit strategy with the seller, right? But for the most part, the biggest like process tweak that I would say separates really the people that are doing 10, 15 deals a month on the dispo front from the people that are just getting started and like in that grind state is the number of offers they're receiving and doing a highest and best scenario, right? So when you're just getting started in wholesaling, right, you might not have that many buyers. Someone makes you an offer, you're like, dude, yes, and you take it, right? It's like you're taking the first offer you get.
$5,000, $10,000, I'll figure it out. That's great. I got one.
I mean, that if you're doing that and you're going to the same 3-4 buyers and they're buying all of your deals and you're not having a competitive situation, that is when you have a slippage in your dispo process and you are not making the most on every single deal that you could be. So if you're listening to this and you hear that and that's you have to make that tweak if you want to build a profitable wholesale business. Like profitable, not top line revenue, not number of deals. Those are sexy words, but like, let's talk about profitability, right? And let's talk about getting the most out of every single deal. And so where that happens is from generating enough engagement to your deal. So top line is engagement, which is marketing. How are we presenting the deal? What do we price it at? What are we saying to buyers? What's the communication style, right? Are we hitting email, text, phone calls? Are we talking to enough people? And then it's going to go interested buyers. Once we have that layer of interested buyers that have raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in that deal, let's make sure we convert them to getting to the walkthrough, right? We need that person to invest time into the deal and get them to that walkthrough, because the chances are if they spend time out of their day to go and drive over there, walk it, they get their GC, they start running their estimates, it's a higher chance that they're going to make an offer, right? So once you have they're interested, you have to be tracking that in some sort of CRM area where hey, we got to follow up with this guy and get him to the walkthrough, right? So that's a conversion rate right there alone. Interested to walkthrough rate, right? And then we have show rate. Well, that is show rate, right? Interested to walkthrough rate.
Yeah.
How many people showed up? And then you have offer received rate, right? So we have engagement, interested buyers, walkthroughs, and then we have offers received, right? We want to make sure that everyone that walks that property makes an offer, or as many as possible. Even if they're like, man, it's not for me, you say, well, hey, what would you be at? Because once we have that offer, then we can leverage a multiple offer scenario.
Pull
right?
that number out.
Yes. And so that's when we go back and we're going to send either text or an email out to everyone that made an offer and say, hey, it's a highly competitive situation. We're not accepting any new offers, but we'll need you to resubmit your highest and best, say by 5 o'clock today, right? And we're going to move forward with whoever's highest and best. That alone what we've seen will typically 75, 80, 90% of people will go back and they're going to send you a higher offer. They will. They will.
It's a mental shift.
They never give you their highest offer the first time around. So if you're not doing that one thing, it's guaranteed you're leaving at least $5,000 on the table. I don't care how small the market is you're in. You're leaving at least $5,000 on the table if you are not doing that on every deal.
Are you sure you weren't at CG this week, Daniel? Because this was another conversation that we had a lot about at CG this past week.
I was not there.
Well, you must have been by osmosis. I tell you what. 'Cause, yeah.
Well, a lot of those guys do it a lot better than I do, and I've learned a lot from those guys. But I mean, I've done it myself plenty of time and time again. And you're leaving money on the table.
There's that humbleness coming out.
Yep.
Actually, it's almost like a mind game a little bit, because like once there's like a fear of loss, or it's just negotiations. Like there's negotiations on the seller front and on the dispo front for sure. And both of you guys, Chenay told me you guys are degenerate gamblers as well. How how's that? I'm just kidding. I don't think you're degenerate.
God, people are gonna walk away from this podcast and be like,
Daniel's a terrible person. No, I'm just kidding. But it's almost like I've bluffed like buyers before. Hopefully they don't hear this, but like, it's like, I got 2 offers. I'm like, shoot, they're both kind of low. Like, that's the highest and best situation, guys. It's flooded with, it's like, what's the best you can do? Is that like one of the big game changing things? Like, how would you deal with that in a low offer situation? Would you bluff, or would you just get more buyers?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you have to lie. Like, one thing is, that's why even if somebody says they're not interested and not going to make an offer, I'm always trying to still draw a number out of them. I'm like, dude, well, look, if you had to buy it, where would you be? And they'll always usually be like, I mean, sometimes I'm like, dude, I'm just not buying right now, or whatever the case may be. But usually they'll just give you an offer. Now I can confidently actually tell the person who made a good offer, hey, look, I do have another offer, right? Without bluffing or lying to them, right? And it makes me feel better morally, ethically, because I'm a broker. Like, I understand how this works. Like, I've been a broker for 6 years. And it happens in brokerage too. Like, retail, like, agents do this all the time. It's a fiduciary duty to their client. But the process is you can't go back to each buyer really morally and tell them what each other's offer is. It has to be everyone's on a fair, even playing field. You don't tell them where they're at. You can maybe give them a little bit of guidance on where they need to be. But hey, you just got to resubmit. But to answer your question directly, in a low offer situation, I'm still going back. Even if I have one offer, I'm still going back to that person and saying, hey man, look, I have other buyers that I can reach out to. I do have some other people that want to walk it. I mean, look, I'm in InvestorBase. I'm looking at 150 buyers that have just done a deal around the corner. Like, I can call some, I can make some.
I can find somebody else.
Yeah.
That's your leverage. And it's like, look, if you really want it, if you can get to here, we'll ink it, right? Maybe they offered 25,000. Look, man, if you can get to 30, it's yours. I'm not going to spend any more time calling other people. But if you don't do that, you're going to stay at 25. If you do it, maybe it gets to 30, maybe it gets to 26, but it's still a larger assignment fee, right? We're still trying to squeeze out as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people forget about, I think there's always so much emphasis placed on the acquisition side and negotiating with sellers, that this is like the other, it really is like the other whole half of closing a deal that we don't talk about nearly enough about, and actually negotiating with buyers and how to make more.
100%. The perception is, I got the deal.
Right.
The buy side's easy. Tons of people are looking for deals.
Yeah.
Not the case.
I mean, it can be easy. Like, it can be easy, but
without the right resources, like a new wholesaler, I thought this was going to be the easiest part, like selling the deal. But again, there's more challenges that can go along with it.
Yeah.
Which is
my just honest take on that is like, we were guilty of this too in my wholesale business. Like, we were so focused on the acquisition side. We spent so much money on marketing. We spent so much time. I mean, we had 4 acquisition agents. You know how many Dispo guys we had? It was me. I did Dispo the whole time. We never had a Dispo manager. All right. Like, we disregarded Dispo entirely for so long. And that was such a mistake. Because that truly is where, like, the really hard part is getting the deal. Like, everyone knows that. Like, getting a good deal is the hardest part. But if you don't have the process in place on the dispo side, dude, it's not even like worth getting the deal sometimes. Like, if you're not going to maximize it, it's like you're spending 90% of your time on this one thing to like, to get it to that point. And then you're like, screw it. And you just throw it to the first person who makes you an offer. It's like, it's mind blowing that, we even had some deals that we did like that myself. And it's because I didn't respect the dispo side and how much more money we can make with having the process right.
That's interesting. Yeah. You're putting 90% of the effort, and that last 10% can net you so much more, but but if you don't do that last little, like, you just treat it seriously. Like, just like you skip trace the list, you cold called them, you spent thousands of dollars on marketing, like, put some effort into Dispo. Don't just throw it on Facebook, please.
I would legit say effort wise, for most wholesale companies, it's probably 90-10. 90% acquisition and marketing, 10% Dispo. Maybe 5% Dispo, 5% TC, honestly.
Yeah. And people, I mean, you're making your money on the Dispo side. So, for those of you who are listening to this, like, keep that in mind. Like, you're not making the money on your acquisition side, you're making the money on your Dispo side. So it really behooves you to look at, how much more juice you can squeeze out of the orange, because that's where your money is going to get made.
It's crazy.
So,
based on your experience, so you said typical people like 90-10. What would be a good percentage of time spent on, like, how much time should we spend on Dispo?
I mean, dude, it's going to depend on your deal flow, like how many, your team size, how many markets you're in, because if you have enough to justify a disposition manager, then that's their full-time job, right? So, like, then you're allocating time to different departments and different people, depending on how many resources you have, right? So overall as a company, I mean, it should probably be like a 60-40, right? Like, there's a lot of really good operators that have 2 acquisition managers, say 2 lead managers, and they have like 2 dispo managers, right? And so they have 2 dispo managers that are working these deals and squeezing out every ounce of it. So probably, I mean, realistically, probably 60-40.
60-40. And then as a solo operator, because I feel like we have a lot of users and a lot of people that I speak to looking into REsimpli, they are solo operators. They don't have the deal flow. They're probably doing like 1 to 3 deals a month, but it sounds like 60-40 still would be a good at least a good time split to build up your list, so that they're selling stuff. They have to squeeze the juice out of every deal.
But that's hard for them. That's hard for them to realize if they're not getting enough closings to like justify 40% on the dispo front. What I would recommend for somebody who's a solo operator and like getting started is, dude, go find your buyers first, right? Like, before you spend all this time and effort, like generating leads and even pulling a list or doing marketing, like, go get 10 to 20 qualified, really good buyers where you understand their buy box, what they want, what they're paying, who's paying the most, so that your dispo process is a little bit easier. You're not starting over every single deal, having to cold call and do email and do text and do all this stuff to like a bunch of people you don't know, right? Like, that's where you shoot yourself in the foot. But if you can go and build relationships with really good buyers and have, I would say probably 20 good ones in your market that you're going to extract and offer 2 or 3 out of these guys, that's the move. And then when you get to that, say 2, 3, and you really want to start squeezing all the juice out, like 2, 3 deals a month, closings, I should say, that's when you need to scale that department and get that process in place to go get more buyers and start to have a wheel that's turning to then get to that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deals a month type range. That would be how I would look at that if I were to go back.
So I love that you keep talking about relationships with buyers, because there's a couple different ways that you can do it, but I think squeezing the juice out, like having the most efficient buyers list, is the one that you connect with the most. What are some ways to help like further that relationship? Like, how should I be like meeting them for coffee, or like should I just calling them on a regular basis? Like, how much time should I put into those relationships?
Yeah, I would once again, I was going to say that it depends kind of like where you're at, right? Like,
I think like local, like someone in their market, not as much nationwide, because that's 2 very different models.
Yeah, I guess I meant like where you're at in your business, like what stage you're at, right? If you're like a solopreneur, you know, I would try and very quickly try and just build relationships, maybe over the phone with a bunch of good guys, get some deals under your belt, and then start kind of generating those relationships. If you have a full-time disposition manager, I mean, dude, they should be hitting that guy up every 6 months if he hasn't bought a deal from them in a while. Hey man, what's the word? What you doing? Can I take you to lunch? Yeah. Can I take you to lunch? Right. Like, that would be a part of the SOP that I would have for a disposition manager is curate really good relationships only with the buyers who are paying the most. Only with the buyers who are paying the most. So that when they get our deals, they're engaging with it and they're responding to it. Right. Because we've lived in a mass blast Dispo Fugazi world since 2021. Like literally. I mean, you guys do this. Think about how many deals you get emailed to you every day from a wholesaler that you don't know. I mean,
all the time.
I've unsubscribed from as much as I can, but I still get texted, called for using InvestorBase. Fortunately, but you know, I'm like, I'm not buying anymore, whatever. But they're calling me because I just did a deal, right? And I'm like, I'm trying not to do deals now. I'm trying to run InvestorBase, but they know I just did a deal. Anyways, on average, on average, a buyer is getting between 6 and 10 deals sent to them every day. So that's where the relationship matters.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, is he going to look at this guy's deal and is he going to spend time on his deal, or is he going to spend time on the guy's deal that he likes, knows, and trusts?
I'm like, oh, Daniel just sent me a deal. Sweet. Yeah, let's check it out. He usually sends me good stuff versus other deal blasting softwares that versus like getting 20 emails from another deal blasting source that we won't talk about. But
well, it's not just some of the marketplace models. It's just like the age that we live in. The access to data is out there. Like if you try hard enough, I mean, you can scrape it all together yourself with an 8-step process or whatever. But 90% of the time, a buyer is getting deals sent from somebody they don't know, and that's where the communication like hiccup is like. That's why call to contact rate is probably only like 20 to 30% on a cold list, right? On day one, you're probably like 15%, right? If you do run a 2-day campaign, you'll probably be at 25, 30%. But if you're calling people that you have a relationship with, I mean, dude, it's going to be like 80, 90%. They'll either call you back or text you back, or they'll pick up the phone. And that's
amazing.
That's
for sure.
Yeah.
Spending the right time in the right place. Now this has been amazing systems and processes and scaling portion, man. I'm going to take some stuff away and implement it in my own business where we're working on relaunching stuff in 2026 for my own. We just hired an acquisition. So love this, man. Thank you for sharing that. Kind of transitioning to like our segment, Real Estate Roundtable. What is the one system or habit that you never give up? Like no matter what market you're in, it doesn't have to be real estate related too.
Let's see. I don't know, man. We got a lot of stuff going on over here. So it's like, and so does everybody, right? So does everybody running a business. But really making sure you're prioritizing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. For me, it's not that sexy, right? It's like, hey, let's list out the initiatives that I need to do this week or today, or that I know needs to be done. And then I'm going to say, hey, how much time do I have today outside of external meetings and internal meetings? Okay, I have 2 to 3 hours of like time where I can work in or on the business. And I'm going to circle like 3 things that might take that 2 hours. I'm like, these are most important. I'm going to work on those. I don't take calls. I don't do anything. Just try and block out everything else as much as possible. Or else you kind of just get stuck in this limbo where you're like, you're doing all the little side quests that pop up on a day-to-day basis that really just distract you from the main needle movers of what you need to do. And every day I come in, I write down, what did I not get to do yesterday? Where does that fall on the priority list? So probably just selecting, like, you can write out 10 things, right? And then select the top 3 or 5 that you really need to get done. It's something that I'm never going to change. I've done that for a very long time.
Just on a regular piece of paper. Nothing fancy.
I tried. So I built an Excel spreadsheet for tracking this stuff. And then I'm like, man, I got to go back to paper. I just love scratching it off. Something about scratching it off.
That feeling. Ah,
Yeah, it's good.
Do it again.
It's good. It's very
Slower.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Slower.
Oh,
It's like that Rush Hour 2. Slower, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel, what's the best quote unquote best practice in real estate that you think is absolute garbage? Just people say it's the best practice, and you're like, nah, that doesn't hit.
I don't know.
Like a 4-hour morning routine, like something like that.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? What is a really bad habit that someone shouldn't do?
No, just like what's something that you've heard that people like say is like a best practice, and you're like, no, it's not.
Like,
Don't
oh,
do
you
that.
got to do this, or you're
and you're like, yeah, and you're just like, yeah, I don't think that's quite accurate.
I don't know. There's probably a lot of those, but I would say like this sounds just so cliche because I already hit on it. But like just spending a lot of money on leads, like if your exit strategy is wholesale and you don't have any buyers, like that'd be a big mistake in my opinion. Like if you don't have 10 to 20 qualified buyers that you know you can sell the deal to tomorrow and you're spending money on leads and trying to work leads,
stop doing that.
Yeah. Stop doing that.
Fix the leaky bucket first before we start pouring more water in there.
We'll know where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's going to save you you're going to have a lot more confidence going into that offer if you're like a newer wholesaler just getting started. Way more confidence.
You know, I think something that's really important with that too is like, you know, especially if you're new and just getting started at this, like just from a mental standpoint, like, okay, so you get a contract, but you don't, like you said, but you don't have any buyers. Like, well, now what? You know, and then what that would actually do to like somebody who's new to their confidence when they can't dispo the deal because they don't have any buyers, but they just spend all this money.
Well, you can look at, I mean, aside from just newbies too, right? It's like people are like enterprise level clients that we have, like, you know, people that are doing 10 plus deals a month, they're jumping in a new market at some point, right? They're going to expand their total addressable market size. And, you know, when they do that, they're probably going to go and find their buyers first and start generating relationships as they're, you know, getting leads, right? They understand the value of that back end part of the process. So, and if they're not doing that, I would say that's a mistake, right? Like, hey, we're jumping in, you know, a new market. We don't have any buyers. Let's start getting leads.
Yeah.
No, go get some buyers first.
Yeah. It's almost like that whole reverse engineering thing that you touched on earlier, really. You know, everybody's so concerned about like the linear, like, okay, so get my leads, do my marketing, talk to sellers, get the contract,
figure out how to sell the deal.
Yeah, without ever realizing that, you know,
begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, begin with the end in mind. Exactly. Yeah,
right.
100%. 100%.
I love it. Yeah, and Daniel, if someone's been in the game for like 3 to 5 years and isn't seeing the traction, or year after year constantly not hitting their target goals, what are they probably lying to themselves about?
Buyers. No, I'm just kidding.
I think I know the answer because we've asked this like 2 different ways.
Yeah, I don't want to say the same thing again. I mean, acquisitions aside, I mean, look, I'll stay on my lane. I do Dispo, right? Like we have a Dispo software. I know the most about that department, right? So if we're siloing this in the Dispo realm, it's probably going to be people think that they have a buyer's list that they built for 5 to 10 years, right? And that their buyer's list is the bee's knees, right? They don't need more buyers. There's no more buyers in their market. There's no one paying more than their buyers. I mean, I can tell you for certain, like we see the buyers that insert themselves in your market. There are new buyers in your market all the time that are paying more. And it's funny, like we'll do a demo with somebody who says that, hey man, I have the most robust buyers list in Pensacola, Florida. Okay, well, let's run a search. Tell me who out of these, you know, there's a list of 100 results. Who do you know in here? And we'll just run through it. Like, yeah, I know him. Oh, I don't know him. Oh, well, it looks like he's done 100 deals in the last year. How do you not know this guy? He's paying 70% of ARV. Like, so I forgot the question, but I think it was like a misconception or something that people were lying to themselves about. I would say on the Dispo side, probably that they have the most elite buyers list ever. and they can't improve on it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're good.
It's a living thing, man. It's people will come, they'll go, they'll cash out, and then new ones trying to make their claim to try to get out of their W-2, their job, rental, flip. I mean,
dude, the newer buyers are great. Like the ones who just did their first deal or two, like they're usually going to pay more because they don't see as many deals as the people who've been doing it for a while do, right? So when a deal comes to them, they're like, oh man, this is the first one. Like this actually looks like a good deal. Like I'm going to make sure I get this, right? And so it could be, you know, the GC that just decided to do his first couple flips. It can be the mom and pop landlord who only buys, you know, a deal or two a year, but they're buying that for a tax write-off and the depreciation, right? It's like those type of buyers, they're everywhere, right? I mean, think about how many people that live in your town that tell you, I'd love to buy a deal, you know, like, or I have some money on the sidelines, or, you know, the mom and pop landlords who are have a, you know, whatever their retirement plan is that they want to liquidate and roll some of that into something else. Like there's so much money out there. So to just think that it's, hey, the high level guys that are doing deals, it's not. It's like there are other people that will pay more than what you currently have.
I always think when people say that kind of stuff, you know, that, you know, oh, I've got the best list and this and that, like that's such a stagnant mindset. I mean, it definitely is not a growth mindset at all. And I mean, we've talked a lot about, you know, how to squeeze more juice and make more money and all of that. If you think that your list is just absolutely perfect, I would say, you know, challenge yourself, because it's probably not. You know?
Well, Chenay, you told me that the first time we talked, remember? You said
Shut up.
I'm just kidding. No, we're talking about a very small subset of people, right? Like you asked me the question, what are people lying to themselves about? Like that's one that I could pinpoint, but very few and far between do we find someone who's like, yeah, I don't need help. You know, they're like,
That's
hey,
true.
I can't get any better. Like you don't typically find that. But there are some people that have a confidence issue that.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had,
like,
I mean,
I've been doing this for 15 years. Like I'm good.
Yes.
Like, you'll see that.
I love that line.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah. That's always a fun one. Switching gears a little bit. So we always kind of like to kind of wrap up with some not really real estate questions type of deal. So we're circling back.
Because we're all humans here. We all have lives, interests. Like it's not like we're doing deals like 24 hours a day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, Daniel, you and I obviously run in the same circles a lot, and there's a lot of people in the real estate investing space that have competitive streaks. They enjoy gambling, fantasy football, sports betting, all that good stuff. Why do you think so many investors and just people that work in this space are drawn to that? I mean, I have my own ideas, but I'm curious.
Drawn to gambling?
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's put the two together somehow. What do they have in common? It's very transactional. The thrill of the chase. I don't know. Maybe they're bored as hell and need to bet on, like, you know, women's volleyball.
Midget racing.
Women's volleyball, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a degenerate, by the way, just for the record. But you do like fantasy football, and you do like sports betting. I love fantasy football. Yeah. I mean, you won't find me outside of my man cave on Sunday, just full horizontal all day.
You got red zone, multiple TVs, like
got 3 TVs, red zone in the middle. I'm full horizontal with a blanket. Don't call me, don't text me. That's like my free time. That's like my getaway. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I always feel like, you know, obviously it's a stomach for risk as well. You know, I think we all have a pretty decent stomach for risk, and anytime you're competing in anything, there's going to be risk involved. So I think that's part of it. How many fantasy leagues are you in? Be honest.
I was in 4 last year. I'm in 3 this year. 4 was a little wild.
That's the 2 to 3 is like, okay, this is an effort. 4 is just like, one, I'm losing in 1. Like,
well, you're playing your own players every week. You're like, this isn't even fun anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I did good last year though. I was in 4 championships, which is pretty hard to do.
Heck yeah,
Won
yeah,
3 out of
dude.
4.
I'm more impressed about that than the Dispo stuff. Like,
Me too. I'm actually. I mean, dude, if I spent as much time on Dispo as I did fantasy football, I mean, this conversation would be a lot better.
Sure. No, dude, I rode like Kelsey for years, and then just ever since Taylor got involved, man, I'm losing $75 every year. It's tragic. But speaking of that, like, what's the worst draft pick you've ever had in fantasy that still haunts you to this day?
I don't know, man. There's been so many of them. I mean, dude,
there's been so many.
Maybe Cooper Kupp this year was really bad. I picked him up way too early. He just did not pan out at all. Yeah, Cooper Kupp this year. But overall, man, dude, it's luck. I mean, it's like it's probably like 75% luck, 25%. You just care more than other people.
I was just going to ask
you,
do you see fantasy football as skill, luck, or I don't know, some form of controlled chaos?
I mean, there's I don't even know if I'd call it skill. I would say like time and effort. If you're willing to put it in and like do some research, then you're going to be better than anybody else at it, right? Yeah. Than people just sit in their lineup randomly. So
you said you're in 3 leagues?
3 leagues.
Is there one that like you care about more
than the
absolutely. Others?
Yeah, I care about 2. My college, like my fraternity league, is pretty competitive, and then I got like a back home league with all my Columbia, South Carolina buddies. Those 2 we take pretty seriously.
Yeah. Do you guys like make the loser do something totally crazy and random?
Yeah, usually like last year you had to go and do the Buffalo Wild Wings whatever it is challenge, like the super hot challenge. The blazing challenge, which is awful. It's not even fun to watch. I don't know why we do it. It's like you're watching like a grown man cry. Like it's like a 5-minute long video too. It's like, dude, I watched like the first 10 seconds. I'm like, this is disgusting. It's awful. They're like sweating. It's just bad.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that one, but we had to do comedy one time, that's terrifying. You got to go do stand-up comedy in front of a lot of people. That's bad.
Have you lost so bad that you've ever had to participate in one of these?
No. That's what I'm like. That's my worst fear. Like I make sure of that. Like that's why I try hard.
That's amazing. I was gonna ask like, what's your best performing joke in your first minute?
Yeah, are you prepared?
But you never had to do that. So
no, I mean I was preparing mentally for it. I was like towards the bottom, and I was just ultimately like, this is just not going to go over well. Yeah.
I saw one reel on Instagram recently where they made the loser of the fantasy league fly to like a random like country, and they had to like find a pin. They had to like go to the place that they like pinned on a Google map, and they could not come home until they actually found it. Like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I might steal that one.
Yeah. So there's one for your arsenal.
Oh man. Daniel, do you see fantasy football as skill, luck, controlled chaos? And second question, how similar is that to real estate?
50% luck, probably 10% skill, and then like what's left?
Controlled chaos.
40%. Probably just like time, energy, and effort. Like how much time are you actually going to spend to do research and stuff like that? You know, because I don't think there's that much skill. It's like anything can happen, but if you know how to read, then like it's all about how much time I'm willing to put into like reading who's injured this week and who might be projected like 15 points by Sunday, right? Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on this guy who's questionable. I'm going to go ahead and draft his backup, pick him up, and stash him just in case he starts getting projected 15, and then everybody wants him, right? So that's the game. That's the game.
The waiver wire, man. That's it. That's it. And how similar is that to real estate? Are there any similarities you could pull from that?
You got to do your due diligence, man. You got to, I mean, before you go tie up that deal, you better know who you're selecting off the waiver wire. You better know what you're offering, right? I mean, that's what I would say. Like,
It's
run
true.
your freaking numbers, man. Like, what's the percent probability that that dude's going to be injured by Sunday? I need
Like
multiple sources.
Yep. Like doing due diligence on Joe Mixon, who I kept as a keeper for a non-football related injury, and he hasn't played all season.
Yep.
That was a bad deal.
I had him too, and I traded James Cook for Puka Nacua because I had 3 running backs. Like I had Bucky Irving, Bijan Robinson, and James Cook, and I was like, I need a better receiver, so I traded James Cook for Puka, which worked out great.
Yeah.
But it was in the hopes that Joe Mixon came back, and he didn't.
Oh,
but I'm in playoffs in that league, so we're all good.
Things work out.
I'm still alive.
Absolutely. Well,
Keep it
Daniel,
alive.
absolutely. Well, Daniel, it was great to chat with you, man, about Dispo. One of my favorite topics to talk about, actually, as in my opinion, like we mentioned, it is overlooked. I think that 60-40 ratio is a great way to look at it. Obviously, depending on where you're at, and fantasy football. I love to chat about that too. Selling a deal can sometimes be just as difficult as acquisitions, or very similarly, but especially if you haven't done a lot of deals a month before. So yin yang balance for sure. Thanks for coming on, man, and helping our listeners make more money.
Yeah, Daniel, this was awesome. I appreciate you keeping it real, sharing your wins and the lessons learned, and letting us behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for exposing me, Chenay.
Yeah, you can always count on me.
You're my best friend.
Yeah, you should know this by now.
We'll talk about this later.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you in Q1. Remember that.
You are.
Start of the show notes. Daniel is not a degenerate gambler. I apologize. I was going off of Chenay's intel, but no, Daniel, you're a great man, dude. Congratulations on the new marriage too, man. And as always, thanks for everybody. Thank you for tuning into Real Talk with REsimpli. If you enjoyed this episode, share the show with somebody who needs this, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for future episodes wherever you're listening to this.
Until next time, guys, keep it real.
Peace.
Thanks, y'all.